All right, this is my Ottoman air compressor, and I'm going to turn it on. And I don't know if you can see that gauge over there, but listen. If you can hear that, it's running, but we're not making any air. And some of you already know what's wrong with this, but I'm going to take it apart and see what we got. So this has an electric motor, and yeah. Okay, I'm going to bring you in close. Hold on. So this is electric motor over on this side, and then hope that's not washing that out. Let me go this way. Anyways, you can see the coupler has pushed away, and I've already had problems with this thing loosening up before. And let me get this off a little bit. Anyways, these set screws in here, they're not very big, but they loosen up. But there's a keyway. There's a keyway right there, and that keeps this thing from turning, but then it's sliding back. So let me loosen that up and pull it apart, and we'll see what we got. All right, I'm back. I got an Allen wrench for it. Got to kind of hold the camera and adjust here. So I'm going to take it all apart. Maybe I'll get this rubber piece out. Maybe. There you go. So you can see it's not tore up. It's not tore up. This is just sliding off. I got the key. So this part here is the problem. These screws loosen up, and this thing slides back. It allows the let me put this over here. Alright, so you can see that's the way it's supposed to be. And this is sliding out of the coupler on the compressor. So I'm going to try to come up with a way to make these screws get a little more bite, and maybe I'll just replace the screws. That may be the answer here. But once we get that done, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this to that wall back there, because I've been having to reel up my hose all the time, or it's on the floor all the time. And this garage isn't very big, and so space is at it isn't a big supply, so I'm going to use all the space I have more efficiently. So let me see what I can do with these screws, and then we'll come back, put that together, and then start to install this. Alright, I'm going to try to zoom in on these screws. I don't know if it's going to work or not. They're really tiny. I'm afraid it's going to get all blurry. It is. But if you can see the end of those screws, they're shiny, and the grip that should be there is gone. So I'm going to head to the hardware store and see if we can find some new ones. If I can't find any new ones, I may drill these holes out and go to a little bit bigger screw to get some more grip, because these definitely aren't going to hold very long. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. I have cleaned this up in here, and I've got this back together. Let me get this out of the way. This is rubber. This is steel, and you can see that's hollow. And this has to fit in here. You can see it. It's got teeth on it, and those teeth are not worn out. So I'm going to put it back together. I got the keyway. I'm going to put it on here, and I'm going to slide this on here. And what I'm doing here, if you can see it, I've gone to Allen cap screws instead of set screws, and I'll show you why here in a second. And it fits on there fairly tight on that shaft, so. Which makes you wonder why it even come off, but I'll show you that too. A little bit farther. Back this up a little more. Yeah. I might have put the coupler on first. No, I can't. I got to put this in. So what's happening right now is I'm hitting the shaft on the motor. Alrighty. That probably went. Nope, I got it. The key was binding it up, so that would work around that. So we got to get it back on here. There you go. So slide that in place. Now I got to get that key in there. I thought about replacing the key, but we come up with this other idea here. I think it's going to work. Maybe. So I got to line that up and get this into place. Well, let's put it in this one first, maybe. There we go. There. Now you can see it's all the way in. So this is all the way in there, and this is all the way in here. I'm going to slide that key right up to there and tighten her down. And this motor, this is a 2 horsepower motor. And it's, if you looked at some other compressors, you may see that the pump is turned this way and the motor is turned this way also, and it has pulleys on it with belts on the backside, and they normally run 2 or 3 belts on these pulleys because of the amount of torque this motor puts out. And if any of the great big compressors, they're going to be hooked up more like this, with a coupler going to the motor, from the motor to the compressor. And that was not nice. It stripped it out. All right, we're going to have to back up because I pulled the threads right out of that thing. All right, I'm going to pause this because I'm going to have to take this back apart and re-tap it. And probably put a different screw in it. Pull the threads right out of that. I'm going to pause you. All right, I'm back. What I had to do is I had to go and put a helicoil in here. And if you don't know what that is, look it up online. So pretty much what I did is I tapped this out, and there's got a stainless steel thread in here now. And that should make a difference. You can buy those for all different sizes. It's tight. I probably should have used a different screw this time. Maybe I will. What I'm doing is because I stripped it out, there's metal on the screw, and it's grabbing it. It's right over here. That's happier. Okay, so that's on there. So I wanted to explain. What's happening here? What was pushing this off here? Or what was making it come off there? And I put a piece of tape on here to show you what's happening with that coupler. Hopefully you can see this. So as this motor starts, the compressor is holding still, and the motor starts. It's twisting. That's called, the torque. That's torque. You can see that the rubber piece has got to give before it starts making the other side turn. And when it's doing this, it has a tendency to want to push. As you make this middle smaller, it pushes out, and that's what's happening. It was pushing this back piece backward, and eventually it'd get loose, and then it would slip. So we're back together again, and I'm going to turn it on. We'll give it a shot and see what it sounds like. Let me go do that. See it or not. So we're compressing air, and that's what we want to do. So let me come off of that, come around here, because I want to show you So the reason that I went from the set screw, which uses this Allen tool, to this, you can see the difference in the size. Let me get where I got a little more background. So it gives me more torque with the wrench. The old one and the new one. That's why I did that. So that's good. That's running. So the next thing I'm going to do is swing it around here. See back in there, I've already got my 4x4 in there. I'm going to put some screws into that, and then I'm going to drill the hole and put the bolts in it. But I'll do that next. I'm going to pause the video here and I'll get that set up. I'll shut this compressor off. And next time I come back, you'll see we'll have the bolts in place and get ready to mount the wheel. Alright. If you look here and here, I use these deck screws to screw through the 2x4 into the 4x4. I've took a template and marked these and drilled a 1/4-inch hole for these bolts I have going in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is try to get myself organized, but I'm going to get my tools over here. I'm going to take and lift this up into place and set it on them 2 bottom ones. Give it all goes together, right? Oh yeah. I'm going to tighten those. Well, try and tighten them. You can't get a ratchet in there, of course, but I've got a ratcheting wrench. So I use 3/8 by 2-inch lag bolts to secure this with. In the instructions it said use 1/2-inch lag bolts or 1/2-inch bolts. I think that would have been overkill. It would have been hard for me to put them in. If you ever use one of these ratcheting wrenches, I'll show it to you here when you're done. Otherwise, you'd be taking it on and off. If you don't pre-drill the holes, you'll split the boards. That clicking noise you hear, it's actually the metal being pulled in because it's not straight up against it. It was leaning backwards. And it's not going anywhere. Once you get it in place and snug these bolts down, you got it in place. Kind of out of position for doing this. because I'm not left-handed for one thing. Let me see if I can get my right hand over there. A little bit more coordinated. Maybe. There. Now the ratcheting wrench, you can see it on and off, off is the other way. This comes in 1/2 inch, 9/16, and they make them all different sizes. So there's that. Now all we gotta do is hook a hose up. So let me get that next. All right, so what we have is we need to get this plug out of here. Hopefully it'll come right out. And I'm going to put this hose in here. So I'm going to put a little pipe dope on it, and I'm using the Blue Monster pipe thread sealant. That's why it's blue, I guess. Or maybe they named it after they made it. I do have the Rectus seal. That works really good too. But I got this now that I'm using it because you can use this on gasoline. Works very well. And I'm sure this is going to be fun. Because the hose isn't going to want to turn, so I'll get it here. I'll just twist it in place first. So you can get this short hose at Harbor Freight. Some of these reels will come with one. The problem with that is every application or where you're going to mount it is going to be different. So, I mean, you could plumb this in solid with pipe if you wanted to, but because my compressor is right here, it's going to be just like this. Okay, that's that. And now, down here, let me see if I got you on camera here. I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing down here. No. Down a little bit farther. So you can see the two ends now. And when you buy these fittings, make sure that you're making all your fittings matching so that you don't have to keep changing them. And so it needs to be able to fit into here. And you can see it does. So that's going to go on the end of here. Had to think about it for a second. Put the wrong end on. We'll add a hose to it. I've probably got way too much on there. I can take it home with me. I'm going to put this end on here. And of course, well, maybe that'll work. Probably not, because I think it's 5/8. It is. Let me see what I got here. This is 3/4. All right, I'm going to have to get a 5/8 wrench. We'll get that. Anyway, that's going to go on here. And I don't need to put that on there right now because I'm not ready for that. And the other one is going on here, which is going to hook my tools to, and maybe another hose if I want to go out farther, which I do have. Because this came with a hose. I've got the hose that I had been using, that's been laying on the floor and coiled up everywhere. And I'll be able to add that onto here. This is 50 feet right here. I should be able to reach anything in my garage and out to the, just outside the garage door. Okay, let me tighten this down. Get 5/8. My assistant here is giving me a wrench. And you don't need to really over tighten these. I mean, it's pipe thread, so they're tapered. You gave me a big towel there. I'll clean this stuff up. All right, so now I'm going to run this hose probably down underneath a little bit. Yeah, let's get the extra pipe dope off. So that can be plugged in here. And wipe this one down. And this stuff will harden up a little bit, but it won't get real hard. How about give me that air hose? It's up there above that, way over there, for the nozzle. So there we got, this is in place, this is in place. If I pull this back a little more and get this out. No, I'll get it. Let me get the air nozzle. I got 20 pounds of pressure in here, so. All right, so you can see it fits the tool nice. I don't have any air because I shut my valve off. And I can pull this out. There it is. It latches. I got about 5 feet of hose out here. This will, right now, will reach my lathe. It pulls it back. I can leave that set there, but I don't leave my tools attached, and I always shut the compressor off. Actually, it's 60 pounds of pressure on it. And I think this goes up to 110. All right, so there you go. Let me back up a little bit so you can see the whole thing and all the other mess I got. There's the reel, there's the compressor. Covers are back on, compressor works. Air hose is off the floor now. And I got a nice reel there to help me reel it back in instead of me rolling it up by hand. And I don't know if you ever roll the hose up, but just kind of like a twist and rotate and everything else trying to get it right. So that's the end of this video. If you like what you've seen, give me a thumbs up. Let other people know about it. And please subscribe. I appreciate you. Thank you.